the new coaches with 10X. So today we're going to be running through a bit of a leg session. And this is one of my leg sessions. This is what I generally do. Nothing's changed. We're just going to go through the motions of how I normally do session after session. So what I normally do when I begin is I go through a bit of 5-minute warm-up on the treadmill, just a nice casual walk. It's a way for me to get my mind focused, to really know what I'm going to be doing for that session, what I need to work on, my weaknesses, my strengths, and what I need to push for when I work towards my next show. So I've got a show coming up at the end of October. I'm always working off-season pre-contest to try and build on everything I can. Because it doesn't matter whether it's off-season or pre-contest, it's always working towards that end goal. What we're going to be doing today is, I tend to start off isolation exercises, so leg extensions, leg curls, sometimes I do some lunges which are more compound, but you still try and tweak the exercise more towards, say, quad movement or hamstring. Nothing too overcomplicated. And then I'll usually finish off with my compound exercises. So I move towards front squats, back squats, leg press, try and put them towards the end when you're already fatigued. So therefore, you don't have to focus on the amount of weight you need to lift. You can focus more on the tension of the muscle. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna follow through. When I finish my warm up, we're gonna slowly make our way over, and I'm gonna go through pretty much how I'm gonna do it. Rep to rep, set to set, exercise to exercise. Let's do it. So what I'm doing now is I'm just doing a bit of warm up with my hamstrings first. So for me, I'm very quad dominant, right, when I train legs. So I need to focus more on my hamstrings and my glutes to try and bring them up to activate first. Because I'm always going to have quad activation when I train, or everyone is. But most people can't seem to get proper activation for the hamstrings. So through the right warm up exercises and the right stretches before you train can help and try and improve mobility, which can help improve tension on the muscle. So.
Jarrad.
What's up?
He's our coach, so all the close in the link in the bio. Please click down and hit up this man.
Three or four warm-up sets before I actually do my proper working sets. The reason behind that is when you're performing your exercise, you can't go 100% from the get-go. If your muscles are cold, then you can lead yourself to a partial tear or a strain in the muscle. That's the last thing you want to do. So I slowly work my way up. I'll increase maybe 1 or 2 plates at a time to get to a good point where I get to a struggle of 10 to 12. And then that becomes my first working set. And then I'll do 3 or so working sets from that point. But you need to work up to that. You can't expect to hit the ground running. Like, you think of racehorses. They don't just go into the gate and they're ready to go from there. They've warmed up maybe a few hours, got the horses warmed up a few hours before the race. So you can't expect that. Like, you think of a sprinter as well. They do their warm-up exercise an hour before they actually perform. So you need to make sure that everything's nice and warm before you go. The warmer your muscles are, the better you can contract the muscle, the more you can control the weight, and the more weight you can actually push. Same with the reps. Getting the right technique out of the way, and also making sure that you're able to push yourself as hard as you can. The harder you can push means the warmer the muscles are. So just remember, that's a big lesson you need to worry about, is getting as much muscles activated as possible before you train. That's why I always start isolation exercises first. So,
James here, give me sesh. Nah, not really. It's Jarrad's sesh today. Yeah, marveling this guy, yo. He's just like every time he just trains, I'm like, holy shit, like, you know, I really don't have any words right now. I'm flabbergasted. But out of everyone that we've met in this journey for 10X as well, he's been one of the most amazing people that we've come across. Hence, he has a lot of experience in the bodybuilding background and also strength background as well. Now, with the size of me compared to this guy here, right? We felt like he was a perfect candidate for the role to help out on online coaching with Dan. So yeah, if you are interested in getting online coaching, a comp prep for bodybuilding and whatnot, this is your man right here. On that note, let's watch this guy kill it today.
That's 4 reps.
Take a big breath in. Stretch it.
No.
Big breath in. Nice and explosive. Beautiful. Come on. Beautiful. Easy. Yeah. Beautiful. Come on. Big breath in. Up. 5, man. Let's get 5. Drive it out. Beautiful. You don't see a man this big and this groovy ever. You don't see it ever. Kai Gray is yet tall, but this guy's like, you know, he's groovy as fuck.
You got that.
Yeah, you got that form while you train, bro. It should be a chore.
Nice and easy. Oh. That's good, Jarrad. Let's go. Sup?
Let's go, Jarrad. Let's go.
Holy shit. Nothing but a peanut.
Hashtag wrecked. 640, 690, 740 kilos. Right now. So there's my get push to 800. Yeah, fuck it. Oh, shit. Hey guys, so just finished up my leg workout today. So we'll run it through from the beginning exactly what I did and how I did it and why I did it. So we start off from the beginning doing a little bit of a warm-up, 5-minute walk on the treadmill. The reason I do that 5-minute warm is because it gets me more mentally focused. And when it comes to training, like, you need to have that focus in the gym. Like, you might have a bit of talking with friends in between sets, but you need to understand that set to set, you need to put it all in, right? Whether it's a warm-up or it's the actual working set. So in that 5 minutes, I gather my thoughts. I put together my workout in my head of how I'm gonna do it, because I don't actually have preset workout plans for me. I'm more instinctual with my training. I have my training day, what I'm gonna do, and I have a range of exercises which I choose from, but I don't set, in the off season, I don't set to a strict plan. When it comes to my clientele, yes I do, because they need that structure because they're not too familiarized with their training. Because I've had 8 years now of training, I have an understanding of knowing what works for me, what doesn't, so I can play with my weights a bit more. Anyway, moving on from there, we went off to do a few warm-up exercises. I did some activation exercises of hamstrings and quads and glutes. Not too much, just a bit of light stretching, a bit of dynamic stretching just to get some movement through the muscle. And started off with lying leg curls. Now the reason I do leg curls in the beginning is because I'm very quad dominant, as the rest of gym population is. So I found by doing hamstring curls first, getting that hamstring glute activation, because hamstring curls also activate the glutes. Getting that kind of activation in the beginning is the most beneficial thing you can do, because if you have better control of your hamstrings, you can control the movement in the down phase of, say, a squat or a leg press. If you can control that better, it means you can get better contraction on that muscle, which means better growth, because the muscle fiber is able to get is more effective at being damaged, which is a good thing. So, and that means that recovery is going to be better because you can get more nutrient uptake into the muscle. Moving on from that, we went straight across just to leg extensions. Now again, being quad dominant, I didn't need to do as many sets on leg presses, as leg extensions as I did on leg curls. So I only did like 2 or 3 working sets, but I did about 1 or 2 warm-up sets. So I didn't need to focus that much time on it, because when I perform the main compound exercises, my quads activate straight away. Again, full stacked, still push myself when I do those exercises, because you need to understand that it doesn't matter whether it's isolation or compound, you need to push yourself set to set as hard as you can, still aiming for that rep range. You know, if you go to fatigue or go to failure, that's how it should be. And you shouldn't have to sacrifice your technique accordingly. All right, moving on from there, we went on to front squats. Now, front squats is a very quad dominant exercise, so hence why when I did the leg extensions, I try not to do too many sets. Now, I couldn't go as heavy as I normally would on front squats, because I can normally do about 180 kilos, but because I had pre-exhausted my muscles prior to doing that major compound exercise, I was only able to put 140 on the bar. Now, for most people, they look at 140 as a daunting weight, but for myself, because I'm used to lifting relatively heavy, 140 wasn't a lot for me, but based on the amount of tension I'm driving through the muscle that time, for my muscles, it was very heavy. So I found that the best way to progress in the front squats was by generating as much tension as possible, then focusing on just trying to lift as much as I can. We're moving on now to the leg press. So the leg press, I went very heavy today. Not the heaviest that I've gone, but the heaviest that I've gone in a very long time on leg press, because I've been trying to focus on improving my squat strength. So I went up to, I think it was about 795 or 798 kilos on the leg press in total. Now, most people are going to see that as, oh, that's a lot of weight. And then they're going to see me perform the exercise like, oh, you didn't go a lot of depth, that was very poor form. And for me, I found that I don't need to go all the way down and all the way up in the exercise to maximize or optimize the tension on my hamstrings, glutes, and quads, because insertion and origin points on everyone is different. So that's the attachment of the muscle belly. It's completely different person to person. And I've found that when I do complete rep range, my butt comes off the seat and it puts a lot of pressure on my lower back. So I found by minimizing the range of motion coming down and not completely locking out at the top, that I'm able to generate the maximum amount of tension in my hamstrings, which is where I need it most. Now, I started off at about, I think it was like 300 kilos to start, and I worked my way up to 800 kilos, or just shy of 800 kilos. Now, I believe that that's the most important thing you need to do when you're actually trying to go heavy in your training. You can't just start at 60 kilos on a squat and jump straight to 180 kilos. Like, your body won't be able to compensate for it. Like, you need to slowly work your way up. And the same with leg press. You start off what you think is light normally, and you slowly progress up, right? Whether you jump up by 1 plate each side or 3 plates each side, it doesn't matter. It's like, whatever you can. If you're gonna go relatively heavy like I did, then you need to understand to slowly work your way up there for what is slow in your terms. So I did work my way up there, and we did 1 set at the 800, and I think I managed to get what? It was 10 or 12?
Yeah. 10 or
12? Yeah. When you see the footage, you'll see how many reps I did. And then moving on from there, we did a bit of more isolation on the hamstring, like I said, because I'm trying to focus more on hamstring development for me, so I can get a nice 1-to-1 even hamstring development. So we did a combination of Romanian deadlifts. Again, I don't use the full range of motion. I went from just below the knee to about halfway up the quad. So from this distance here to about this distance here. So that was my range of motion. However, that range of motion gives me the most optimal contraction of my hamstrings and stretch. And then moving on to another exercise called the reverse hamstring curl. And that's where you're using your body weight, or as much of your body weight as possible, to contract going backwards. So using your body up as a lever instead of actually using the weight of the machine. So when you do a leg curl, you're curling your legs underneath, or if you're laying down, curling your legs up using resistance. Reverse hamstring curl is literally the reverse of that. So instead of using a resistance weight, you're using your own body weight as the resistance. So when you weigh roughly around 120 kilos, it's a lot harder to use your body weight as much. So I had to use a lat pull down bar as a way to catch myself at the bottom of the movement. Otherwise I would not have been able to do the reps that I was required. And then moving on from there, we went straight over to calf raises on the leg press. Now for me, I don't need many sets for calf raises. I only did about 5 sets, including 1 warm up. Now, we had a bit of fun with that. Both James and Jose jumped on the leg press machine. They found that fun. They found that was a bit of fun. And you know, at the same time, you need to enjoy what you're doing, and I needed to add some extra weight, so I thought, well, instead of chucking on some extra plates, why don't I just chuck on a human being? Yeah, but for me, because I have the genetics in my family for large calves, as you can see right there, I don't have to focus as much on how many exercises, sets, and reps I need to do. However, I still try and optimize as much as I can on each rep and set that I do. There's no point taxing the hell out of the muscle if you're not able to activate it properly. So 5 to 6 sets maximum that I focus on these, right, per workout. However, I'm always optimizing every rep. Like, I'm trying to get the max amount of stretch, the max amount of peak contraction at the top of every rep. If you don't do that, then you're pretty much sacrificing half the exercise. Like, you're wasting your time. So to finish it up, when it comes to my style of coaching that I offer, very similar to how I train. Obviously, I tailor it depending on whether you're a beginner, intermediate, or advanced. I don't feel the need to give an advanced lifter basic, simple exercises like, you know, body weight exercises. Unless they have poor form, then I do have to break it down from scratch and work my way back up, because you've got to break down that poor form that they've had and build them back up on proper form. So with the beginners, I find actually working with beginner athletes 10 times easier than working with an advanced athlete, because with an advanced athlete, if they've been taught the wrong way, I have to start from the beginning. So I have to unteach them how they've been doing it and then reteach them how to do it the right way. So what I offer in that sense is a program that, for the advanced athlete, that tailors specifically to them based on where they're at, the amount of training they've had, you know, like overall experience, the age at which they're at as well. I also organize them to get a blood test as well, so I know exactly the levels of testosterone, levels of estrogen, their vitamin levels, their cholesterol levels, blood pressure levels. I need to know all this kind of stuff, because that determines the type of training that they can put themselves through without impeding their overall recovery and results. Because if they get, say, more of a strength-based bodybuilding program and they have naturally high blood pressure, then they could end up passing out midway through a session. Same if they're diabetic. You know, if they're going through a very long session, then they're probably going to have multidextrose or some sort of simple sugar-based carbohydrate during the workout to make sure that they don't crash. Now with a beginner athlete, I keep it very simple basic exercises. You know, might get them training 4 days a week max, to focus on the very simple things, to make sure they're focusing more on their technique. Intermediate, to step up from that, we have your major compound exercises, and then we add in some accessory exercises. So, you know, let's say they're going to do legs, we do like squats, leg press, the generic stuff, and then we add in some, you know, what I did today is maybe some Romanian deadlifts, some leg curls, some alternative leg curls like the one that I did, the reverse leg curls, things like that, which you throw into the program to do on occasion. And then, like I said, advanced is completely different again. Like, I restructure it completely different person to person, because it's a whole nother level once you've had at least 4 or 5 years of experience in the gym. If you want more information on what I do in terms of bodybuilding, obviously follow the link below. One of my major things I'm also working on too is rehabilitation. Now, I've had plenty of clients who have come to me in the past who have had injuries while training with me previously, or are currently dealing with injuries. So I've had to learn very quickly how to adjust programs accordingly to an injury. I've had guys who have come to me with an injury that I can't fix because it's just gotten to a point where they've come too late for the help. and I've come to people who have come just after an injury and we're able to work from the beginning, because I also want to work with that person's physician, can't even say it, health professional. Man, this workout really killed me. So I try to work with their chiropractor, their physio, based on what they've implemented for recovery and rehabilitation, and I correlate continuously with that person. Like, I try to get them to use my chiropractors and physios because I trust them and I know that their knowledge is sound. But if they come to me with someone that I'm not too familiarized with, then I have to obviously go the extra mile to get to know that physio, get to know that chiropractor, to make sure that they've got the right qualifications or they've had the right experience in that type of injury or in that type of training of that person. Like, you know, if you have a physio who comes to you who has no idea what a bodybuilder is, and that person who's got that injury is a bodybuilder and he's trying to recover to continue his bodybuilding, physio's not going to know what to do because he's never experienced it. That's why I use my guys, because my guys have had experience, because I've been with them since the beginning, since I started bodybuilding back when I was 19. So my takeaway message from this is make sure that you focus on your training and technique first. Always pushing yourself in the gym. Learn to have fun. You know, when it comes to my coaching, I would always suggest to have a proper conversation with me first. Like, I want to know you before I start to write you programs and train you, because if I don't know who you are and I don't know what you've done in the past, then I don't know how to help you in the future. So the more I can know you, the more I can know about you, and the more that you and I can get to know each other, the more I can help you develop your physique in the gym. Whether you're Gen Pop, whether you're an actual bodybuilder, and that's beginner, intermediate, or advanced. So any more information, be sure to follow the link below and follow us on 10X, Facebook and Instagram.
Come on, Jarrad. Let's go. Push. Beautiful. Come on.
Let's go. Come on.
Finish strong.
Juniors, bro, juniors.
Finish strong. Let's go. Lightweight.
Two more!
Let's go. One more. Drive it up. Beautiful.
Well done.
That's what I mean by emotion.
Fucking beast mode, bro. Well done.
Saved?
Yeah. That's all you gotta do is just post it.
Yeah.